About the bird. Bird's a winner when a bird is a winner when a bird.
Hey, hello everybody. Tom Capps here with the Rule the Roost Podcast. We have a special guest today. I've been doing business with this guy for a long time. I picked him as our first official guest because I'm tired of being the only guy with really white hair. So I got him to match me. So we always start each podcast with a joke of the day. All right? So I told you a bird joke, which is getting harder and harder to come by. So, okay, we get something. So why did the chicken not cross the road?
And because the rooster was on the other side? I don't know.
He was too chicken.
He was too chicken.
Thanks.
Where did the ant get off at this from the train?
I have no idea.
At the infestation.
There you go, the infestation. All right, I like it. See, I knew there was a reason you were going to be good at this. So, all right, Harry, so we've been doing business for quite a few years. But with us, it's always like you call me, we have a bird problem, we solve the bird problem. We've never really gotten just to sit down and shoot the shit a little bit about what's up and why. So I got into the bird business totally by accident. I was a parking lot sweeper. I kind of fell into it. But you actually ended up being the president of the NMPA for a while?
NJ,
okay.
PMA, which is the New Jersey State Association.
So you were a pretty big muckety muck for a while.
I was on the board for over 20 years. I just resigned my position this past year. It was time to get some young blood. And in fact, my general manager is now on the board, basically taking my place.
Awesome. That's awesome. So how did you get into pest? Of all businesses, how did you get pest control? My dad said you should become a pest control guy?
No, I always assumed I was going to be in restaurants. I always wanted to own my own restaurant.
Really?
And I worked in restaurants for about 16, 18 years, something like that. But the restaurants kept on doing something nasty to me. I was in the hospital 4 different times for exhaustion and stress-related illnesses. The last time I ended up in the hospital for a month and it turned out I had viral hepatitis.
Oh my
which was crazy.
What kind of restaurant was it?
That was basically a fast food restaurant in a mall, but I just decided that I can't do that anymore. So what do I know? Well, if you work in restaurants, you know a little bit about bugs.
There you go.
That was the transition for me into pest control. I worked for 2 of the national companies. I learned a lot. They taught me a lot of what to do. They also told me a lot of what not to do. A lot more on that end. And I guess some people think I'm arrogant. But I was arrogant enough to think that I could do better than they did, and so I started my business in 1992. It was myself and a part-timer. I now have 38 employees, and we do business throughout South Jersey, from Ocean County over to Burlington County and everything south.
Well, that's awesome.
So,
and I don't know that I would consider you being arrogant. You have to have some self-confidence in yourself. That's what we were just talking about that off the air. We just did another video for some Amazon stuff, and the girl said, when we talk about our products, we talk about them, but when you talk about them, Dad, you really believe in it. And it's not so much it's just you. If I'm going to say something, it's the truth, and I believe in the truth. If you tell the truth, you never have to lie. Mm-hmm. So I don't think and you've never come across as arrogant to me. So that's a good trait. Be self-confident.
Over the course of time, I've managed to become an associate certified entomologist as well. That's a good thing. There's a entomological ladder, with the top being like a doctor with a PhD. And then on down, and the lowest rung is that of an associate certified entomologist. but I am on the ladder.
There you go. And see, I'm not even at the base of the ladder, so it's funny. I get to go around and like, I'm actually leaving tomorrow to go do a teaching session up in Connecticut, where I get up and talk to a bunch of pest control service managers about bird control. And I know when I go in front of that group of people, they're way smarter than me, because they have to know how to kill all different kinds of bugs, what to spray, not to spray, where to spray it, how to spray, how often to spray. I don't know any of that stuff. I know how to get rid of birds, and that's it. So I always make it perfectly clear. I said, look, I know about birds, but I know nothing else. So
that reminds me, I have some pictures to show you that we have to figure out how to get the birds from roosting between solar panels and a wall.
Okay.
So, I'm thinking maybe we could net over the top of it, or because you can't get to the spot where they're roosting.
That's what's always so fun about bird control. It's
Yep.
always these wacky predicaments. That's what I like the best about it.
That's neat.
So I know you also have family working for you, right? How what's the family situation like within the business?
My son, my son started when he was 15. And he worked as a termite helper, and my termite treater called him Zach of many crooked holes. And he progressed, and then when he went away to college, he came back and he worked for me for a while, but he needed to get away from Dad.
That's perfectly normal.
So he went to Chicago for 9 years.
Wow.
And he was doing his thing out there, met his wife. Then when they decided to have children, they realized that free babysitting is worth a whole hell of a lot of money. So they decided to come back. He came to work for me, and then he left. And then he came back, and right now he's my sales manager, and he's doing an outstanding job with that. So
takes a while to figure out that dynamic, right?
it takes a while, and it takes a while to realize that Dad actually knows something every once in a while.
Yeah.
He went to I made him go to a class that it was a 2-day class on wood destroying insects, and at the end of the class there's a test. More than 50% of the people fail the test. He went through the whole thing. He passed the test. He gets home and he goes, Dad, this is all stuff you've been telling me for all these years. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well, I never realized how important it was.
Yeah.
So
the things you learn, right?
Yep.
That's with me the same thing. I was a parking lot sweeper, knew nothing about birds, and just kind of learned it by doing it and screwing up. So it's easy now to pass along lessons to people because everything they're going to do wrong, I already did wrong.
Yeah.
So it's easy to do. So
and it's easy to do things wrong with birds.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
Yeah. And Mother Nature's tricky. So what is your favorite type of pest or animal to deal with, if there is such a thing?
I used to love to do bald-faced hornet's nest.
Okay, why?
It's the rush. You get a rush. When I started out with one of the national companies, they just give you a little hand duster and a can of spray. And what you'd have to do is go sneak up on it and then hit the guard that's guarding the opening, nail that, and stick the duster in, and whoosh, and then run like hell.
That was really they
didn't want to spend money on equipment and whatnot. So, but
it sounds like a young man's game.
That now we have what's called a dust stick. It's a stick that you put together. It can go up to 25 feet, and it's got the dust on the end of it and a pump on the bottom, so you can put it in the hole, whack it a few times, and they're hovering all around the dust bowl. So. Yeah, they were always fun. I like doing carpenter bees too, because like you get it in the hole and there's a carpenter bee in the hole and you're boom, boom, and then it comes out and you hear boom. So I guess it's the thrill of the kill.
There you go. That seems to be a common thing with pest control guys. I remember when I was first doing bird work, I actually met up with a woman who was a pest control lady. She looked pretty tough, you know. And we were walking around the building, and I was looking for bird stuff, and she was looking for rodent stuff. And she picked up a trap, and she took it and violently shook it. And I said, what are you doing that for? In case there was a live one, and I want to kill it. And I said, oh my God, it's a different kind of people I'm dealing with there, you know? So after a while, you get to see it's a whole different world, pest control. It's very I think what's really cool about it now, and I never knew, is what a good beginning it is for young people. I mean, you get the most, tell me if I'm wrong, but from what I've heard is that you can take somebody with a high school diploma and you'd rather teach them your way, the right way.
Correct.
And you get a good starting salary, you learn a career, and don't have to go to college and spend millions of dollars.
Not only that, you get a company vehicle. You know, with us, we pay for the uniforms, we pay for the cell phone, we pay for all of the equipment that they use. So yeah, we can take people. And a lot of times it's people that are sort of lost a little bit. You know, they don't know where they want to go, and and they generally work out real well. Yeah. I have people. I had one guy that worked for me for over 20 years. He just retired a short time ago. My general manager started out. He was a janitor at a senior center. And he worked his way up. Real smart guy.
Yeah, especially now, you see what it costs to go to college.
Yeah, well, he actually had gone to college, but there was no jobs or what, I don't know exactly. And he's been with me for 15 years.
Yeah, we have the same thing, a bunch of people with us a long time. But now this whole AI thing coming along, I think pest control is going to be impervious to, because you still have to have a person going someplace and doing the physical parts of the job, right?
There's aspects of it that can be utilized,
sure.
Mainly through in marketing and things like that. However, you need to physically put eyes on the thing. Although there are some robotic things moving forward, in particular within agriculture. They're utilizing robotic dogs to run through the fields, and they pick up the various insects that are infesting the thing, so they can target limited areas where the problem is, and then they just have a drone that comes through and dispenses the pesticides in the area that's necessary. So yeah, it's so kids that like their video games and all. This is an adult application of a video game.
It's going to fit right in, probably for the next generation. I don't know if I'm going to be flying a drone anywhere soon.
No, some of my guys do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we utilize drones sometimes for bat work and for bird work and whatnot. But I got mine up 10 feet in the air and then I crashed it.
Yeah, my fingers don't work that way. So, how do you deal with having so many employees and cars driving around New Jersey and different parts of New Jersey? You have a certain set of rules or things you have to follow?
Absolutely.
That's got to be every meeting you have to reiterate that, right?
We have GPSs in the trucks, so I know how fast they're driving. I know if they're idling, and idling's a big thing. What's gas? Over $4 a gallon now.
Sure.
So every gallon of gas you waste idling is problematic. So if they idle for more than 10 minutes, then I know about it. If they speed, and typically, I'm fairly lenient. If it's over 70 miles an hour, we got a problem. Okay. And then we also installed forward-facing and compartment-facing cameras.
I was going to ask you about that.
And they've been a godsend.
Especially in case there is an accident. You have proof, right, what's going on, what happened.
Absolutely. We've had 3 different instances. One, two guys were in the vehicle. They were in a Wawa parking lot. And a woman came around. She's doing her makeup. and talking on the phone, and you could see it with the camera and she didn't see it. Head on.
Oh.
Totaled my truck in a Wawa parking lot.
And if you didn't have the camera.
Right, then it would have been a he said, she said.
Yeah.
So,
And I brought it up because when I do my training thing, sometimes I get there like an hour or two early, and I hear what they all discuss and they hammer that down all the time. Do you report those results or give those risks to your insurance company to keep the premiums down? Is that
yeah, well, they have access.
that.
Our techs get and salespeople get a weekly summary score. So, as long as they're in the 90s, we're fine.
Cool.
Somebody drops down to the 60s, that's remedial. You got to make sure, then you got to go out and ride with them, see what's going on. Maybe it's a problem with the system. Most of the times it's not.
All right, so if someone came up to you and said, Harry, I want to start a pest control business. I've been doing it for somebody else for a couple of years. I know a lot of stuff. How do you go about starting your own pest control company? How hard is it to do in New Jersey?
It's not necessarily hard to do. To be successful at it, you have to find what your niche is. What
Birds.
What are you going? But even in pest control, what are you going to be putting out there so that people will know that, hey, this is a good guy for this? Like, you've seen my trucks, my logo. It's a dog. Why in the world would you have a dog as a logo for pest control? Yeah, it's somewhat subliminal. It tells people that we are pet friendly, that we're concerned about the health and welfare of not only their pets but their kids. It draws attention. When my trucks drive down the road, little kids are pointing at the truck all the time and say, "Mommy, Daddy, look at the dog."
Good advice.
So, having a good logo is helpful. We have consistently set up and communicated that we're in the business to educate our customers, because we feel that if a customer is educated and they understand what's going on, like what's the biology of that insect, why is it important, what do we need to do, why do we need to do whatever it is that we're planning on doing, and what's the follow-ups. So if we go through all that with a customer, and then we tell them how much it's going to be, a lot of times we'll get the business when the competition goes in and says, see ant, kill ant, $75.
And I guess it's important too for newbies to understand that there's a lot of education out there. Every trade show that we go to, a lot of times we have vendors like me presenting, but the guys are there to go take classes and earn points and all that kind of thing. So it's out there, right? Especially in New Jersey, from what I see.
You getting your license, and then maintaining your license is important. So we have recertification credits that you need to get so many credits over a period of 5 years. Some of the categories are a little tough because they don't always have classes in those categories, like IPM in schools, which is integrated pest management. You don't want to go nilly-willy spraying pesticides around inside a school. God forbid what the lawsuits would look like for that.
Exactly.
So that's a category. Mosquitoes, termites. There's all sorts of different categories. There are categories for campgrounds. There's categories for meat packing plants and industrial situations.
So it's just never ending on. You can make yourself as smart as you want to be.
And you'll never stop learning.
All right, now, so we talked about business. Let's talk about Harry. So what's with all the bike riding? How'd you get into bike riding? I know it's associated with a charity that you're involved with.
I've been doing the MS 150 for over 30 years.
Wow.
I started the first year I did it on a homemade tandem bicycle that I refurbished myself. I actually got it from a customer's yard. It was just sitting in the yard. It was a racing bike from the 1970s. It was heavy as hell. And I did it with my sister. My sisters are about 15 years younger than me. So, and then the following year, I did it with my son. My son was 10 years old at the time. And then the year after that, I did it with my daughter, who was 9 years old. And
I realize you've been doing it that long.
I started it because I couldn't run anymore. My knees were
I remember a few years ago you were limping around pretty good on job sites.
Well, I've had both knees replaced. I've had both hips replaced, and I've had both shoulders rebuilt.
Wow.
So
the original bionic man.
That's what everybody
says. Keeps so healthy. Yeah, it's great.
So yeah, so the bicycle is a good way for me to have a non-impact exercise that I do, I mean, I like getting out, and one of the nicest things is that when I'm out riding, I don't answer my phone.
There you go. Like now, you had to mute it and stick it in your pocket and everything else.
Yeah. So, but the MS bike ride in September is from Cherry Hill to Ocean City and back. Typically, you can do different distances going down. You can do 100 miles down to 25 miles. On the way back, it's only one. It's 75 miles.
Cool.
So typically nowadays, I just do 75 going down and 75 going back.
Oh, that's all? Jeez.
So when my daughter, as she got older, we used to do, she's the only person I've ever had to like grit my teeth and go, okay, I'm going to get through this goddamn thing. I just stick on her butt and follow her. So,
that's great.
But yeah.
All right, so
enjoy it.
We told a joke to begin the session. How about we tell a funny story? What's your funniest story that you can relate to the viewers that's happened to you that you've seen happen in your years of pest control? There's probably a bunch of them, right?
I'm trying to think of ones that are PG rated.
Okay, I figured that would be the biggest problem.
I was doing a bald-faced hornet's nest. It was on the peak of a 2-story house. So it was a good 30 feet up. I had my pole all the way extended, and normally when you're doing this stuff, you don't want any distractions because you want to keep your eye on what's going on and whatnot. And I get there and I start doing it, I put it up, and one of my employees at the time pulls up, gets out of the truck, and starts yelling to me, and he's coming over and yelling. And I look over and I'm like hitting the thing, and son of a bitch, one of them hornets came straight down the pole and got me right in the forehead. Jeez. I was like, you idiot, what you do? Don't you see what I'm doing?
That must have hurt a little bit.
Yeah, it did, but you get stung like once a year. It's not that big a deal.
Too bad. How is it worse than getting skunked? Have you ever been skunked?
I refuse to answer that question on the grounds that it could still possibly happen to me.
Okay, fair enough.
And so the wildlife technicians, we tell them,
My chair just gave out. I just shrunk. We're going to finish on a high note from down here.
So.
All right, so tell everybody out there why they should hire your company to do pest control. Why are you better than everybody, or as good as anybody in the business?
No, we're better.
Great, there you go.
We're better.
Not at all. Go for it.
Because, again, we're going to educate you as to what the situation is, why it's important. And you know what? If it's not important, we're going to tell you that too. I go into, I've been on numerous termite inspections for real estate transfers where you're looking for all kinds of different wood-destroying organisms. And I'll go into a farmhouse that was built in the 1920s or even earlier, and I'll see powder post beetle holes. Powder post beetles are a wood-destroying organism that gets into the wood. It lays an egg, larvae develops, it goes back and forth through the wood. It could be in the wood anywhere from 1 to 10 years. Then it emerges, it pupates close to the surface, and the adult emerges, and they'll leave little like nail holes. And then sometimes you'll see the frass coming out, which is just fecal matter because they're ingesting the wood.
Matter, I like it.
So there's a bunch of different kinds of powder post beetles. And one in particular it's called a licted powder post beetle. It infests wood that's less than 10 years old. And it infests hardwoods, and typically barns and farms were made of hardwoods, and the wood wasn't kilned and things like that. So I'll find the exit holes for that, and I've run across it many times where another pest control outfit has come in and said, you got powder post beetles, we need to either fumigate or we need to do this. It's going to be, $3,000. It's going to be $15,000, whatever. And then I get called in for a second opinion, and those beetles haven't been in that wood since your grandpa was a gleam in your great-grandfather's eye. They only infest wood for the first 10 years. That's the end of it. But obviously, you're still going to have the whole, the evidence of it. So, that happens a lot. So, I mean,
you can't. Honesty and experience is everything.
Yeah, I would rather take care of the person and tell them exactly what's going on. And if they don't need my services, they don't need them. But just, remember me the next time you have a problem.
There you go. And I got to say, we've been working together for how long now? It's always been a pleasure and great.
It was 20 years at least.
Yeah, at least. So happy to have you on the show today. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to share with our listeners?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right. Great.
Thanks for having you.
All
See you
right.
next time, guys.
Nice.
How was the length?
Good.
You were perfect. You wrap it to like a half hour at a time.